I was going to talk about the future of recreational fisheries research. But I know that you people are probably the best persons to talk about it, but I will talk about it from our FishBrain point of view. I will talk a little about a recap what Jonas said about FishBrain and why people use it and the way people deliver data for us. And also talking about the important subject within the angling community, which is fishing privacy. I will tell you a little bit about how we are collecting the data in an effective way. Also, I'm going to talk about something that has been on my mind from the beginning of FishBrain, which we call intelligent recommendations. And also, I want to open up to discuss with you if it's possible to use the FishBrain data for your research. And if I can squeeze it in, I will show you a little bonus about Google Glass rankings. First, a little about me. I'm the original founder of FishBrain. I was always been a passionate angler since I was a little kid. I worked as a project manager with a focus on user experience and design on FishBrain right now. I've been working with different internet projects since 1998. The latest 5 years within the mobile sector. So, why do people use FishBrain? Well, this is just 5 of the top reasons for using it. They want to keep the catches in one place, in the fishing trips in a logbook. They want to brag for their friends and fellow anglers about the latest and greatest catch. They also want to follow like-minded anglers. It could be your friends, it could be your family, it could be someone who's fishing with the same fishing method that you are, or maybe in the same lakes where you fish. They also want to interact with like-minded anglers in some way, with comments, catches and fishing trips and moments. And also we have this hardcore user who is keeping a logbook and try to improve their fishing by collecting as much data as possible and using our analyzer to try to find patterns which can help them to select baits and stuff like that. So let's talk briefly about fishing privacy, because this is one thing we see skilled anglers kind of back a bit when we talk about FishBrain, because this is not about showing the exact position of your favorite fishing spot. It's more of a way to show that you're a great fisherman, and especially skilled anglers. We hope that we can get them to use FishBrain as a promotion of themselves. So we have 3 different levels of privacy. We have the public, which speaks for itself. You show the exact position where you caught your fish, and you also what the name of the fishing was. And we have the middle way, which we call the friendly way, which is the most fun way which we recommend people to use. It's you show which water you're fishing in, but not the exact position of the catch, because that is kept private for you. So you can see it in the app, but no one else. The fun thing about the friendly level is that you can compete in the lake, even though you don't share the exact position of the catches. So you can become what we call king of the lake. It's a very popular feature. And then, of course, we have the totally private mode. Then you don't show anything else than your great catch, not about the position. Okay, let's talk about how we collect the data. This illustration, very basic illustration, it's much more technical behind it, but this is basically what we do. We have 250,000 users, approximately, who is using FishBrain to add catches and also to receive data from fishing trips. So they start the app and FishBrain take care of all the boring stuff to collect data among which is not directly connected to catch, like weight and stuff. So we have APIs for weather, wind and water, moon, tide and current. We are always looking to automatize this process to make it easier to log a lot of catches in a smooth way. And we will collect this data in our database for later use. Here is, I don't know if you can read it, but this is an overview of the data we're collecting today. The left values is the one who is manually entered by our anglers who's using the app. And they are, of course, optional to add as much as or as little as you want. What's mentioned there is we believe that we have the largest database in the world with over 45,000 baits with images. And all the other values in the right is automatically collected through our APIs around the world. Please interrupt me if you have any questions specifically. Otherwise, I go to something we call intelligent recommendations. This has been the vision for me and FishBrain from the beginning. But this is nothing we could be doing from the beginning because we need a lot of big data to make any intelligent recommendations. So what we mean with the intelligent recommendation is, for example, if you just look at the catches and you want to find, you want to try to find the northern pike. If you look at the just catches, you will see that you should fish when it's sunny. Well, this is not the truth. I don't believe it anyway, because you need the time aspect to make any good recommendations. So that's why we have in our app also you can log your fishing trips. But then we can take the hours of fishing divided by numbers of catches and get a catch per hour, which is more reliable if you're going to make some kind of intelligence recommendations. And then we can get things like what bait should I use to catch a northern pike during rain, for example, or what depth should I be fish on, trying to find specific fish species. And what if fly fishing is more effective than casting, for example, for sea trout during spring in Sweden. And the possibilities is endless. So, we have a suggestion or an idea we want to level with you. We have a lot of data and we are going to get a huge amount of more data while more and more are using our app. And we are getting better and better to collecting more and more information. So what we want to do is create a feature or some kind of API for scientists or researchers to use in their hunt for the truth. So what we are imagining is that you can, in some easy way, just tell say a query for our big database, like let's see, if you want to see how many sea trouts are caught during April and May in Sweden, a year versus another year, stuff like that we have in our database, pretty easy to just use. And the ways you can select queries is you can multiply each value with the values we have, so it's endless possibilities. So just discuss with us if this is something you want to. Of course, you have your research, but maybe this can be as a complement to to compare with your results. And we are real time, so we don't take a lot of time to, because one day is we have the data, and the next month maybe we can see some other patterns in different parts of the world. So this is very interesting. I believe much in the data.
We can go into this question into the panel discussion with the
yeah, sure.
But if there is any and these are all nations in the world, like in USA, you have all US states. Isn't it true that you could filter by state?
Yeah. We have our main focus till now has been just collecting as much data as possible. We don't know what to do with it. We just collect it, and we will use it somehow. If not, that's not the end of the world. So, yeah.
Maybe just a short comment at this point in time. I'm not sure if you were attending the first day of the...
No, I missed that.
Well, I gave a presentation where I showed how we could make use of the English data for the aqua labs and fish base, for example. We just need, at this time, occurrence records. That would be very useful. If you look from now to 10 years later, for example, and you are continuously collecting the data from the Anglian community, you are probably able to show a shift in abundance, in biomass, in capacity. These are data we can hardly get from scientific projects. So
okay.
That is something we think would be the first kind of cooperation.
Okay, that sounds nice. Yeah, we are open for ideas.
We met with Johan and also a few other people at Nordic fisheries in January, and I think this is great because a lot of anglers are saying, well, we need to have these kind of apps, and why don't we collect stuff through electronic technology instead of mail or phone surveys. Our big issue at NOAA, well, we collect a lot of data ourselves, so I'm not going to say we don't need this, but we have a lot of statistics. But what's nice is all that weather data that's put together. That would be something that economists have thought about using in our trip model. But anyway, our biggest issue when people say this kind of stuff, why don't you use these, is statistical reliability.
Yeah.
Are only certain anglers, and what's the bias here? And that's what we really need to figure out. We can't use it unless we know if it's a representative sample. Is it only really avid anglers who are using this? Because that's going to skew the data, right?
Yeah.
So we probably need to address that before
Well,
we
yeah,
really use it.
that's one of the ways that I'm most interested in this data is that we have information in Canada in particular from mail surveys, and these is actually probably the opposite demographics from the information that we collect, which is young people that probably don't even know they have a mailbox. So I think this is interesting for augmenting the information that we have and even doing comparative things, looking at how our estimates differ or when you combine them together.
Yeah.
I'm interested from a slightly different perspective. I've got a PhD student that's just about to start that's looking at whether you can scrape data from the web, that would give you an idea about indices of whether these match reports or trophy things track landings of fish or size of the spawning stock biomass.
Yeah.
So we're interested in looking at whether these can be used as indicators and as a way of tracking back catches over time, because when you start to talk about stock assessments, you need long time series.
Yeah, of course.
So we're very interested in this data from that respect as well, to kind of, to coin the IT term, to match it up with lots of other stuff. But we can scrape and see what we can do which is useful with those data. I mean, I completely get the fact that this isn't a representative sample, you're going to have big avidity bias in it, but it's whether we can use the data in a slightly different way that maybe doesn't give us an idea of exactly what the catches are or exactly what the spend are, but it's a bit more like an indicator.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, we believe that if you get enough data, we can, there are things now people do which is amazing with machine learning and stuff like that. We can predict, we can analyze the data and see if it's something that's not likely to happen or stuff like that. It's possible to do it, but that's why we need to discuss with you what you're trying to find out and start the discussion there, because we believe that although we have 250,000 users, we are going to get millions of users in this project if it's successful. And then the data will be more and more better, more accurate, more reliable.
One thing we could do is, a pilot study that compares, I think we talked about Florida, because I think you have a lot of Florida people who and Florida is a big fishing state, so there's a lot of data from Florida, so it might make a good case study to make a comparison between like NOAA data and your data to see like how much you really are.
Sure.
And that's one thing I suggested in January. But then you could also maybe use the people that you have and actually ask them to contribute certain fields all the time, so that you try to make your own sample within your sample. So, the problem is that they don't, like, say you wanted to record for a whole month, but the person's catching, well, if he just decides to do it one day and not another day, so you might have to get them to say, you agree every day to do it, right? So we know that they're everything, they're not just only the biggest thing, stuff like that.
Yeah, we are not scientists. We are just handling a tool for anglers to have fun. We collect the data and trying to make, well, let's say for our case, it's like this. If we can make an intelligence recommendation for someone to go to bigger fish next day, then we have success. And, but we still believe that if we, as you say, they might not log every catch they caught. Maybe some people just report the big one and stuff like that. I think if you know that they do that, it's easier to calculate.
Right, but you don't know yet, that's the thing.
Well, no, of course. I think there are ways to without, because people can say one thing, you don't know if the truth
What I'm
anyway.
saying is that, we have these survey companies that form web panels in the US, and so you could maybe use this to form that panel and then get a certain number of people to agree whatever you're suggesting.
Yeah.
Tell them, these are the questions we need you to answer every single time, and then we'll have this complete panel. And it still might be biased because you're only dealing with the people who are already signed up for FishBrain, but at least it would be like a regular survey. Right?
Yes.
There's a kind of opportunity to use like NOAA when you make a sample. You can ask those people that when you, for example, people under 40 years old, you can give them option to use FishBrain also. And then there will be some way that you get a gift card to that also $5 or
Well, we can't
something.
pay, but you guys can.
Or something else like a fishing license or I don't know. Or then they need no reward. But that would be fine.
Well, I'm saying there's opportunities, but just the way it is now, that's our main concern, is that we have no idea what representation is in the whole field of anglers and species.
But I think let's definitely take this discussion offline, because you have the input for us, and we're happy to have the discussion with you to see what we can.
Yes. And this is service, kind of boring, no offense, but entering catch or love your catch, people like that. So they teach the truth for them. So yeah.
I would say that we could broaden the view a bit more and actually look at government. The thing is, we work with a similar set of data, we've got a similar app, and what I like to use it for, and I have been trying to use our data for, is actually point out the water boards we have in the Netherlands is this water is important to anglers. So if you're changing something along the track of that water, if you're managing the water in a different way, let us know. This is our data. And keep your hands off, let's say, that part of the shore, because it's a very important spot, angling spot. That's the power of your data, and keep that in mind. Because now you can show at a national and even at global levels in the long run what important angling spots are. And that's important, very important, not for researchers, but for essentially developers, government. And that's where one of the powers will be.
I also think if you can point out which fish species is most popular. Let's say the mai is the popular game fish. You can say yes, we have 100,000 users that fish yearly for mai, for enter mai. There are more questions that you can get out of here. If you want to say how many fish are caught in a particular pond per hour, and that's very specific. I don't know if you can answer these questions, so you have to really think, what question do I have, and what kind of data do I have? That's really important. You can't answer all the questions, but if you have a lot of data, you can use it.
Yeah.
Let's take a final comment from Sarah.
Well, yeah. Nowadays we are in the middle of, for example, marine spatial plan, and also in the inland waters plan. So in this kind of data where you have the locality, it's very useful for that. Special plan. Everyone should produce those plans in the near future. So yeah, for that might be very useful. On the other hand, it was pointed already out that probably you have a bias. Be aware about that and try to figure out what it is and how much it is, or is your database useful. Probably not, because people tend to log in the big ones, but also catch some small ones, but they keep them on.
A little word of caution to interpretation of data. You said to see what are the most preferred species, but we have studies, for example, from UK, showing that the most preferred species among sea anglers is bass. But if you look at the catch volume, it's very low, relatively low to mackerel and others. So depending on what you're talking about, what you want to use the data to, and is it a market, so what does anglers want and what do they do and so on. You have to realize that anglers' wish thinking is different from what they actually get.
Yeah, that's true. You have to use it in a wise way and look at the data and look at your anglers. But you can't ask an angler to enter all the fish. But if you just ask it, fill in this form, okay, he just wants to go fishing, have fun.
Yes.
So, yes.
Super short question from the other.
Yeah, the other thing we're interested in is movement of anglers between fisheries as a route of disease transmission. So, you know, people transporting wet nets or stuff. So, you know, if you could look at the patterns of the way that people are moving around fisheries over time, that would also be very useful for us.
Okay.
Can I say one more thing? I don't know how many of you know, but in the U.S., the Cornell Lab of Ornithology has eBird, and that strikes me as similar to this, where people put their birding lists by location. So you might just take a look at that and see what things. That's become hugely popular.
Yeah.
So, and some of the ornithologists are using that. I don't know how they deal with that bias too, but I know they've been using it to do like breeding bird census stuff in the U.S. So I would just look at eBird.
Yeah. To just wrap it up, as I said, we have been focused on gathering the data, and we are pretty successful with a lot of millions of data points already in our database. So we're getting there. So I'll open up for free.
I will today email you an email, and the title will be what you want to know. So you can answer French lines, like what you want to know, and I will forward this email to Jens, and we can answer you at the moment or something.
Yeah, good way to
You can have everybody please answer this email and see what you want to know.
Well, I was going to show a quick movie about FishBrain on Google Glass, but I think that
Keep it in the
Please do.
You sure? It's our CEO. Actually, it was.
Don't show this.
This video was actually for another project. We were competing for the best idea for using Google Glass in San Francisco on MTGX hackathon, which we won. So I think it's it's not that bad.
It is.
We don't have time.
Is it 5 minutes or something?
I think it's we could skip the meeting part because it's just statistics.
Hey folks, I got a mission. I want you and me to catch more and bigger fish. And I want to make it super easy for us to brag about it so we can get the credibility we deserve. My name is Johan Atby, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of FishBrain. Catching more and bigger fish are the two fundamental drivers.
We have said this around 5 times.
And that is what FishBrain is all about.
Just skip to the we have some samples how it could look like.
On my smartphone, in the glass, I get to read some recommendations. So I'm looking now, I can see, okay, there's a good strike period for pike now, so that's good. I can see I should use this lure. I switch to this lure now to have the lure that FishBrain is recommending. And I can see here, looking out. Okay, so I look at the depth map and I can see there's a very nice bottom structure over there. And I can see, okay, there's been lots of great, actually pretty nice catches down over there. So now I know when, where, and how to fish. So I better shut up and start fishing. And while you're waiting for the relaunch of version of Google Glass, download our mobile app today and start using it. It's already used by over 100,000 people. Thank you, and I'm back to you. Now let's do some fishing. Fish off.
Can you put glasses on the fish so we see what they're looking at?
That's the next version.
So sorry for the time. Thank you very much.